my script here, there's a whole lot of map, the link, and all those kind of things. Maybe the flow chart is what is, if possible, someone need to really do a modeling or a flow chart on how this whole thing, because the 219-page document so far delivered to David Hunde and co, you really, really need to be someone who is an analyst to be able to piece the information together. And that's what we're going to be doing. And if we have time, just as our title said, we will move on to reveal to us the heist they are planning in with our country. These people we are dealing with, they don't even care whether Nigerians are suffering, whether there is poverty, whether there is insecurity, whether the naira is cratering at the forex market. It's not their business. They have their priority. Their priority is themselves, how they enjoy themselves. So we are going to be exposing some of the things we have unraveled so far, if we have the time. And so, I don't know if there's something you have to say, or should I just run along?
Yeah, Doc, I'll go ahead.
Okay, that's great. So, as you can see from the title here, this is from the FBI file dated yesterday, 31st of October, and addressed to Aaron Greenspan, which is the lawyer that is working hand in hand with David Hunde. And the very first paragraph says, no, the title says, Greenspan versus EQ USA and et al. And co. It says, subject, Bola Tinubu et al. Dear Mr. Greenspan, the FBI has completed the interim review of records subject to the Freedom of Information Act that are responsive to your request. The enclosed documents were reviewed under the Freedom of Information PA. I don't know what PA stands for. Title 5, United States Sections 552/552A. Below, you will find check boxes under applicable status for the exemption asserted to protect information exempt from disclosure. The appropriate exemptions are noted on the processed pages next to redacted information. In addition, deleted page information sheet was inserted to indicate where pages were withheld entirely pursuant to application exemption. An explanation of exemption is enclosed to further explain justification for withheld information. Now, this is very simple. This is just a summary of a guide given to Aaron Greenspan. As we said, in the judgment, in the ruling of the court, there were a lot of redaction, meaning some places the names were blocked, some pages were completely, everything written in a whole page were completely deleted, but they still inserted the page for you to know that there are pages that were deleted and the explanations were given, meaning that in as much as what we have here is still rich and deep, there are still many things that, because of the ruling, that we couldn't even see, that were deleted. And if you go through those 219 pages, there were plenty of them running in tens of pages that were deleted. Now, first and foremost, it casts a shadow of doubt on the people we are dealing with. If there is something of a content that pertains to them that had to be deleted. And people might say, why? Well, I have my own reason. America is just a country. They care about themselves and their own business and their own dreams. They are not going to be here fighting for us. We have we say that we are a country, a sovereign nation, isn't it? We should be able to solve our own problem. They may decide to redact certain information. They may decide to withhold certain information that will help them as a leverage going forward. Remember, they have a lot of interest in Nigeria. ExxonMobil is still an American company, and there are many oil exploration companies. There are a whole lot they are doing in Nigeria. And need I tell us something? A country cannot just wake up and, because of private citizen like David Hunde, decided to risk their interest being that the issue that could endanger the person that is occupying the highest office is what a private citizen is asking. They need to weigh all the options. What is it in need for us? If Nigerians can sit down and use their own system to endorse what should not be endorsed, should we be killing ourselves? I mean, Atiku Abubakar went to the US and gathered all the information he gathered. What did our Supreme Court justices do with it? They trashed it inside the dustbin. So I just, by the side, I just decided to say that. But be that as it may, we need to go back to this whole document. Now, as you read and sift through the document, you notice that what this first batch of the document files contain is the process when they identified what was happening and how they started building their case and their argument up till the point where that affidavit that David Hunde in them released before the election came out, that particular affidavit that resulted in the forfeiture of $460,000. So what it means is that that particular affidavit sworn by Agent Moss and Co. is actually a summary of these 219 pages. So what that implies is that document that Enahoro Eba took to court last year is authentic, because these 219-page document are more like, you know, the way if you're preparing for exams or if you're trying to write something, your notebook, everything you did, how you compiled, how you, even the car they were driving, and how they did all those things. That's what these 219 pages did. However, there are important things that happen here. There is a name that kept on appearing there, and we have the picture of that name. It's one Akonde of a man. Now, there is also another name known as Lee Edward. Lee Edward, okay, this is Abiodun. Abiodun is a boy to another person. Abiodun came to the US somewhere in the 80s, all right? And in the 80s, but there is an Akonde who is like their boss in the Chicago circle. Remember that yesterday we did say the letter said that it said this case is about, you know, trafficking of class A substances. I don't want to mention the name. We mentioned it yesterday so that we don't go and start having problem with YouTube and co. Now, this trafficking of class A substances, it says that involved Nigerians, a group of Nigerians. Okay? Now, these are the three heads of this group of Nigerians. This person here, his name is Abiodun, somebody, I'll leave it that way, and then it's in the document. Then give me the other one, another person with a cap. No, another person with a cap. The older person with a cap. That's it. No, that's still a night. Yes. And this is the Akonde of a person. Now, I think I'm told that this person, the relation or the wife or something like that, later became a commissioner in Lagos. Okay? Become a commissioner in Lagos. So, but this is the person who is leading this team. According to the court paper, he is the leader of the Nigerian team. His name is expressly mentioned in the document. You could see it there. Okay. Now, as at this particular time, when this case started, which is from 1990, this person had relocated to Nigeria. And yours truly, our man who is in the eye of the storm currently, had also relocated to Nigeria. Now, how did the whole ring got busted? Now, there is another man, which is in this document, known as Lee Edward. Lee Edward operates in Indianapolis area of the US. Okay, he operates there. And in order to expand the market of the Chicago side, this Abiodun person was brought over. Okay? Now, unknown to him, he sold the substance to an FBI undercover agent. And that was how he was nabbed. And he is the person who now started singing. Now, this Lee Edward, as we talk, is still serving life sentence in the US for his business, for this business. He's still serving life sentence. So he's like the head of an area, a franchise, call it that way. This, our person here who is on the screen, is like the head leading the Nigerian team. Okay? Now, their building guy now started singing. It was him who exposed their own ring. But their henchmen, as it were then, had relocated to Nigeria. All these were contained in that particular affidavit. Now, how did our own yours truly come into this picture? He was not in the marketing, as it were. Let me use that terminology, business terminology. He was not in the marketing, maybe as in the distribution and what have you. He was more or less acting as a fund manager, as an accountant. And you remember that in the affidavit, it said that his address was a drop-off. We've done that. And also the person. Now, you can imagine someone who used a traveler's check to open an account with $1,000 account. And within 1 week of opening that account, $80,000 had entered into that account way back in the 90s. $80,000. And that was how the IRS people got, what's happening here? What are you doing? And he said he's working with ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil was contacted. Say yes. Now, there's no way we can allow a staff to put company money as much as this in our personal account. That was how, linking it with the Gary connection and their building connection, the investigation started getting shape. They now started trailing all of them, watching them, the kind of car they drive, where they go to, the clubs they go to, and the kind of movement, which kind of bag. They were taking pictures of all these things, building their case. Now, something interesting happened, because at this same time when this case was happening in America, that was also when in somewhere in Colombia, a young man who was in his early 40s was giving the whole world trouble. Can I see that guy? His name is a popular name, Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. Now, look at it. He says he was born in the 1st of December, 1949, and he died 2nd of December, 1993. 44 years. He was a Colombian lord and a politician. This is important. He's a politician because this guy even went to become a member of the parliament. He was so powerful. I mean, if you've watched the documentaries on Netflix about Pablo Escobar, your body will shake. The guy took off an airplane that is in the air, just exploded. The guy used armored tankers to run through the government buildings. This is a person that says, I will not be extradited to America. He had to build his own prison and imprison himself in Colombia with his team. And inside that prison that had clubs, the best of the bed, they drink the best of wine, there is supplies there, he was running his business. I am not going to take much time to talk about this person here, but this is his mugshot as far back as 1976, which means by 1976, he has already gotten into the eye of the law. And he continued very active, let's just say from 1976 to 1993 when he died. Almost 17 years very active. And so when you look at these people, they don't start, they have a long history and pattern of what they do. You understand what I mean? And now, at that same time when Pablo was causing mayhem, it was said that at that time, he was the richest person in the world. He was making like $5 million every day. I watched some of the documentaries about him. He doesn't put money in the bank. He puts his money, his accountant is someone who knows geography because they dig holes and put their money. When he gets cold, he used bundles of dollars to in the fireplace. I'm telling you the truth. Go and watch it. Go to Netflix and check Pablo Escobar or What Narcotics. It's based on true story. He died though. He died when he had an issue with the police. Now, the DEA, because DEA relocated to Colombia for his case. And that was also the same time this particular case we are dealing with now was happening in America. Now, the reason why I've connected these stories to tell you the mindset of the DEA at that particular period of time, the position of America with people who are committing this kind of crime then. Are you getting? And both the one that Pablo is dealing with coming from Colombia and the one that our people were dealing with coming from Afghanistan and co are class A. In fact, it is said that the one our people were dealing with is more dangerous because the withdrawal mechanism is more dangerous than even the Pablo's own. So you can imagine if DEA is going to literally relocate to Nigeria, a lot of properties that Pablo bought in US were seized, were forfeited. So the same thing was what happened to our people. When they forfeited money, it was not their bank account. It was because they were not available. They are no longer in the country. And this is the only thing the government could lay hands on. And like our Supreme Court said, according to the judgment written by the current Chief Justice of the Federation, forfeiture is a price you pay for a crime that you have committed. We know that. The Supreme Court knows that. The Chief Justice of the Federation knows that. But of course, as we have been saying, it's one law to the common Nigeria and another to them. So in summary of the whole thing, this is what this particular tranche of file has revealed. The build-up of what resulted in the affidavit that was sworn and presented in the court, which led the court to find these people guilty in absentia and then pounced on their bank account. It's important. That's what has happened. And they say they have about 2,500 files. We have just dealt with the first one, the one that we know. We will continue seeing much. If you have gone through the file and you see certain things in the file, you don't understand how to interpret it, you can ask it as a question, and I am happy to answer it here. But in the absence of that, I don't know if there's anything you want to say or a question before we move to the next topic, because we've already done 20 minutes on this. Thank you.
Yeah, Doc, I don't really have much. I just want to say that it's good that this information is being, unveiled for people to get to know what is in the FBI file. Because I watched one man on one of the channels saying that people are saying FBI file, FBI file. Let them release it, that it has got nothing to do with them. But I think this kind of information on a sitting president is not really, it's not really good. And for somebody to like have this bad past and you want to serve the public, I think this should be a lesson to our politicians, that each time they sit down to think of coming out to run for a public office, they should like try to reflect on their past and know if there is anything that will, indict them or even dent them further. Because it's also a lesson to we Nigerians, the ordinary citizens. Let's try to our best the much we can. Like the economy now is biting. People are going into crime. Their excuses is that there's no money, that they don't have money to buy food, that there's hunger in the land. I think these things are no excuses for one to build a very bad past. I know that it wasn't hunger that led to all this. It's because people were having that quest to acquire wealth. That's what led to this kind of businesses that they did then. But for us now, it's also a very big lesson that as much as we are trying to acquire wealth or, achieve one height or the other, we should build a very good record, at least for our children. And we should also try to teach our children, for those of us who are already parents, teach our children on the essence to have a very clean life. So that, because you don't know where you find yourself tomorrow. I know that the current government, they are not bothered, they are not worried about these things. But, you can imagine how the other world leaders are looking at Nigeria with this kind of information. We are living in an internet age where anything that comes out circulates everywhere, as in everybody gets to see it. So you can imagine what is going on in the minds of other world leaders when they see that this is where Nigeria is today. So, Doc, that's just my own take.
Okay, before you step out, this thing you said, how other world leaders look at us. Something happened in 2015. I'm sure you must remember. I don't know if it was Commonwealth of Nations. I can't remember what happened, but it was at the Buckingham Palace. And the Bishop of the Canterbury was there. David Cameron then was the Prime Minister of Britain. And they were talking over a cup of tea or over a glass of, they were drinking, during more like a break time, talking and laughing. And the Prime Minister used his mouth to say that, talked about corruption. And the adjective he used to describe Nigerian kind of corruption, said that our nation and our leaders are that we are a fantastically corrupt nation. That was how the head of a country described another country and their leaders. When they don't even have something they can hold on like what we have now. So you can imagine how they will be discussing and talking about us when they're having their coffee next time. With all this one, that just go to the internet. Just go to the internet, type in Google, and just use any kind of search word and connect it with this, and you see what pops up about our leaders. Not just leaders. I mean, I saw a video where one of the leader, Wike, is saying that he bought ticket for everybody, House of Assembly, members of House of Rep, Senate, governor, that he bought ticket for all of them. And it's like he was saying it, I don't know. Which means it was River State is now his investment. So he's now the sleeping partner, while the other ones are the active partners. It is now River State PLC, owned by Wike as the majority shareholder. And so whenever he raises his hand, that's where the vote is going to. Shame. And today I was looking at the news. Do you know that the former Prime Minister of Britain was removed because during the COVID, when people were supposed to be isolating, they were not isolating inside the government house. That was what led to him losing his office as a prime minister. But that was not enough. Up until yesterday, I was watching the BBC and I noticed that they are still investigating what happened then. I said, Haba, COVID, we have conquered COVID. You people are still looking at COVID that happened what happened, the mistakes that leaders made in 2020. But a governor of a state were being tear-gassed by the police that is controlled by the Inspector General of Police, who answers directly to the president. And they say it's a family affair. They burnt down the House of Assembly, which is our collective asset. And they say it's a family affair. And they say that the president has called them to reconcile them. Let's move on.
I think I have this video that I just want us to, some of the thoughts that some obedience shared on this
certain information
issue. Let's just take it.
signatures were redacted. So not everything is about Tinubu. But let me tell you how you would know what is about Tinubu. If you read the affidavit, I've read it 2 times, so I know that story like as if I was there. I can even play it in my head like a movie. If you read that affidavit, the 1993 affidavit from Kevin Moss, he started from the beginning. He talked about how he got into this investigation and how the FBI, DEA, IRS, US Customs and Border Protection were on this, on Tinubu and his gang. Okay? So what that means is he was an IRS guy coming in to investigate money laundering. And let me just take you guys back a bit. If you live in the US, you're probably aware that once you start getting some amount of money, that's why drug dealers don't go to bank. Once they start getting this lump sum of money, the bank is going to report. They have a duty to report to the IRS or to the government, because especially if your income does not match what you're receiving, that's really how they checkmate people. So when also you're getting this suspicious amount of money and it goes to the IRS, there's a department in the IRS that investigates fraud, money laundering, stuff like that. It's not even the police. So that's pretty much what happened to Tinubu. If you remember, if you watch the video I pinned on my page, remember that I pointed out few things that might appear in this file, in these files, and that is the fact that when Tinubu opened his account, the first bank account in Chicago, $1,000 was the opening amount, right? And then in 5 days, $80,000 jumped inside it. You see that? There's no place in the world where that would happen unless you won a lottery. I mean, every decent person, you don't just, why didn't you even open the account with the $80,000, right? But so apart from apart from that deposit, that money was moving in a strange manner, right? So also in this file, you're going to see that the white man, Lee Andrew Edwards, who's a distro in Indiana. If you've seen Power, Ghost House Power, you know that series, you will understand this distro thing. They all have their own areas that they cover, right? Chicago was Tinubu's network area. They owned the whole of Chicago. And, you know, by drug term, you can't just come in there. That's their territory. And then this other guy, Lee Andrew Edwards, owns Indiana. He was the biggest distro in Indiana. So other people will probably come and buy from him.
They are tough. They are tough.
Exactly.
They are tough.
That's their area. They are tough. So he controlled that area. So Chicago, the drugs were coming from Nigeria, from Muiza Konde, who is Tinubu's, I call him his uncle because basically that's really how we introduced him the first time. But Muiza Konde had this distro from Nigeria, the White Heroin Network. They bring it to Chicago by post. Because when they bring it by post, they use that Globe Link address in Chicago to cut it, distribute it to people like Gary in Indiana. Then Gary can probably send it to other places. And they also sold to other places, but I haven't gotten to that part. So I don't know any other states. I'm just looking at Chicago and Indiana. So if you're reading this file from the FBI, you need to have side by side the affidavit from Kevin Moss and the FBI files. Forget about the redaction. It didn't change much because the stories are still the same. The FBI files contains staking information. You know how FBI will park their car 10 miles away from your house and be looking at you from binoculars, or they'll be pretending to be trash pickers, picking papers off the street, picking your used condom in the trash, checking everything. That's really what they were doing. I came across it in the FBI files this evening. They did that for the Lee Andrew Edwards guy. So that was the beginning of their investigation. They started from what they found in Indiana, and then they tied it together with what they found in Chicago. And then when Agent Kelvin Moss realized that he was not working for them, he came in as a different person, investigating those bank amounts. That's a different issue. It was when he realized that there's something suspicious going here. He reported to FBI. FBI said, yeah, we are actually also investigating these guys. See what we have. See. So he's like, it's DIA. Say, yes, we are also looking at them. See how many times we have staked in front of Lee Andrew Edwards' house. See. That was how he was able to connect with them, and they were all working towards the same goal. So now, how did they know that Tinubu was involved? It's simple. When Muiza Konde, the owner, the head person in Chicago, who owns that Nigerian group, distribution group, he went back to Nigeria, right? He went back to Nigeria to handle business, and then he transferred it to Abiodun Agbele. I hope I'm saying it well. If you check Google, you're going to see him with his smirk on his face. He's bald. I think he went to court and stuff like that. He's still there. So he handed that business over to him. But the guy was so, he was doing the business the way he was supposed to. But he got so excited. He went and sold drugs to the FBI agent for $7,000. And he got caught like a chicken. It's all in there, right? He got caught. So now they arrested him and said, man, you have to tell us what's going on here. Now that we have you have to cooperate. I don't know if they threatened him or whatever, but he sang. That was how all these names were flying. He sang, he mentioned where the drugs were coming from.
They promised him a reduced sentence.
Okay, thank you. So he began singing, mentioning names, giving all the details. It was also true that they ended up busting the Lee Andrew Edwards guy. They went to his house for a search, but he saw them coming. He killed an officer, right? So this is a very serious crime case. He can turn to a TV show and it will probably sell off box office. So it's not something that you can just read in a hurry. So if you're reading it, don't feel discouraged. The FBI, the redaction did not even do any damage. In fact, I'm glad that this is really what they could have given us. The only thing is just that where Tinubu would appear was covered. I don't care about the police officer's name. I don't care about stamps. I don't care about signatures. But because I have read the affidavit, now I know what those boxes are saying. I can easily just go back and forth and go search and say, okay, on this date, this is what they were talking about. Because that affidavit is pretty much a story. Nothing left out. Complete story of what you're going to see on the FBI files. So don't feel bad. I will take it like I tweeted. I like it. I was saying that I'm going to vote for Trump or any crazy person that will get those records released. But from what I'm saying, this one fool my belly for now.
I have something to read for us here. Okay? Can I read?
Yes.
And this was published in 2016. The Economic by the Premium Times. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission on Wednesday arraigned an associate of Governor Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State, Abiodun Agbele, before Justice Nnamdi Dimba of the Federal High Court sitting in Maitama, Abuja. He was arraigned on an 11-count charge of money laundering to the tune of 1.2 billion naira. The money was part of 4.6 billion naira allegedly transferred from an account belonging to the Office of the National Security Advisor with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Mr. Agbele was arraigned alongside former Minister of Defense for State, Musiliu Obanikoro. Now, you see, these names are not just when they finished in the US, they continue. They are in every fabrics of our government. Do you understand what I mean? They are still moving things for our government. If you go as far back as 2021, he's still all over the news. He's still all over the news that he bought a house of 1.3 billion naira in 4 months. As far back as 2021, carried by Vanguard News. These people are running things. Oh, goodness me. He's all over. The guy is a big boy in Nigeria today. He's still...
So there's one interesting thing happening in Nigeria. You find out that, like Amechi was saying, that who do we even vote for? Who are the people we vote for? Nigerians. When you look at most of our politicians, take your time to go and research their past. It will shock you the kind of persons that come to present themselves for election. This other day, Doc, you made mention of the former governor of Kebbi State, and you said so many things about him, what he has been involved in. And this man still came out, contested for governorship position, and people voted for him. Even if he was able to, maneuver his way through, there were still people that willingly supported him and voted for him. So does it mean that Nigerians, we don't take, possibly we are even the cause of our problems, honestly. Possibly we are the cause of we are the ones as in inflicting injuries on ourselves. Because when people present themselves for election or even re-election, we don't take time. We rather look at, is it from my tribe? Is it from my religion? What have I ever gained something from him? And all that.
Come. Finally, we took time in 2023. East, West, South, and North. Democracy is about majority, isn't it? Majority took time in 2023. In the presidential election, did they even care that you voted? Where is your vote in Rivers State? Even as we talk, with all the mutilation and the reduction, the number on the vote in the Rivers State is still showing that the person that the people voted won the election. It's the same thing in Benue State. It's the same thing in Edo State. It's the same thing all over. And they told you to go to court. And then you got to court. And your court told you that it is nonsense. How someone will say, Banza. The court told you, get out of our face. We don't care. Whenever I hear, oh, Nigerians, look at who you voted, I always say, hold on. It's not true. Yes, of course, a man will have his family support him. There will always be the minority. But when it comes to representative democracy, the majority is what we are talking. And I can say it with every boldness and conviction. The majority did not vote for people who are in power today. They imposed themselves on us because they have the handle. They impose themselves on us. Even when you have your hand to vote, the same INEC will tell you, will refuse you to vote by denying you a permanent voter's card. And when you eventually grabbed it from them and came on the day to vote, after voting, they will trash your ballot papers and the result sheets somewhere and announce result by 4 a.m. And when you complain to the same INEC, the INEC will tell you, I don't care that I broke my own rule and I broke the law. Go to court. And when you get to court, the court will speak English for you and trash you. So please, let's be easy on Nigerians. Let's be easy with them. These people don't care. I told you when I finished my youth service, I ran into someone who was a local government chairman, and he was my boss then, where I was working as a service engineer in a telecom company. He asked me that there's something we'll do. Took me to one house in the GRA. Do you know what they're doing in that house? Cartons and cartons and cartons of electoral material, voters card. Then it wasn't PVC. They were just manufacturing names, and after manufacturing, they put it in the bag and go and keep. On the day of election, they give you, you go. At the end, they will write results. They will write results, and INEC will say, yes, that is our result, and the court will validate the results. That is it.
Yes, Doc, my thought is, you can imagine if Nigerians have started doing what they are doing today years back. That's just what I'm trying to say.
Of course.
Because I know that if we had started earlier, honestly, we wouldn't have been where we are today. Even Buhari, both his first and his second tenure, nobody's sure that he won those two different elections. But he was given that position because anybody INEC announces, the person takes over. And even if you go to court, you end up just wasting your resources. So that's just what I'm saying, that it's good that Nigerians are waking up, because these people, whether you like it or not, they still have, even the current president came out to say that, I know most of you didn't vote for me. Many people didn't vote for him, and he's aware. But there were still people, even till now that the economy is biting, you still see people coming on Twitter to say 4+4, that turn by turn and all that, on your mandate we will stand. Yeah, you will still see people who will support whosoever that comes out to buy. You talked about this Escobar. He still got into politics despite the dirtiness of his hands. So it's all about the citizens. I think this last election has really, let me just say, Nigeria has now embarked on a journey for a better Nigeria. Since after this 2023 presidential election, I've seen a lot of changes, and I just pray that it will continue that way. Because from what INEC has done, if you can imagine, you can see that even voter apathy is now reducing. Look at Imo State. You can imagine, we have election in few days that will be holding in Imo State and other states like that. But people don't care. You don't see that consciousness again because of what happened during the presidential election. People are afraid for their lives and all that. And even if people die, who cares? Nobody cares. So that desire to come out for a change is no longer there, because even if you come out, INEC decides. Pata, you go to court, and the court gives its own verdict, whether it favors you or not. But I just want to also encourage Nigerians that we've begun a good work. Let's just continue for a better Nigeria. No doubt this election has given them tough time, and I believe that they are yet to recover from it. So, Doc, back to you so that we go to the other topics that we have.
See what is happening in let's move on from this. I mean, the X space summarize everything I've said here, almost all the names I mentioned and summarize. Everybody can go and read and ask further questions as we go. Let's see what is happening, how they are selling our country for themselves, sharing and dividing. Let's listen to that other part of the news. We don't even have much time, but let's just see how it goes.
I think we'll start with this.
That you just said, how bad do you think, was he able to speak?
It's not this.
To the extent of the kind of corruption you think exists in the judiciary.
Okay.
I mean, if there is corruption in the judiciary.
Sports utility vehicles for lawmakers. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is said to have submitted a supplementary budget to the National Assembly requesting the allocation of over 7.3 billion naira for the procurement of vehicles for the State House. In the same budget, the Office of the First Lady is set to receive 1.5 billion naira for the purchase of new vehicles. The budget request is set to be part of President Tinubu's broader proposal, which includes a 2.17 trillion supplementary budget for approval by the National Assembly. Within the supplementary budget, the government intends to allocate 2.9 billion naira for the acquisition of sports utility vehicles designated for the presidential villa, and an additional 2.9 billion naira for the replacement of existing vehicles at the presidential villa. Dr. Abati, you know that this will raise a lot of eyebrows, but you know that there is more. The breakdown of the proposed expenses also include the sum of 4 billion naira for the renovation of the residential quarters of the president, while renovation of Dodan Barracks, the official residence of the president in Lagos, would also gulp another 4 billion naira. Also, the sum of 2.5 billion naira is budgeted for the renovation of Aguda House, while 3 billion naira is budgeted for the renovation of official quarters of the Vice President in Lagos, bringing it to a total expenditure of 13.5 billion naira.
Okay.
Well, the various...
There is a slide I sent you where those breakdowns were summarized. So we can have it here for those who like to punch calculator while we are talking. And there is something written in that slide, the priorities, yes. It says here, the president's priorities, a total of 6.9 billion cars for president, 5 billion presidential yachts. Yes, there is another news that carried this. It's 8 billion official Lagos residents, 13.5 billion renovation of official quarters, 1.5 billion for First Lady's office, and many other things, because this had been trending. It's about how many trillion? About, just give me a second. It's about 2.1 trillion naira supplementary budget. Remember, our budget runs December to December, okay? In Nigeria, our budget runs December to December. And today is 1st of November. And they are submitting a supplementary budget of 2.1 trillion naira for budget. Supplementary meaning to add, to make up. So this is the money they are going to balloon in the next 2 months. But what is important, give me that front page of the Arise so that they can see the one that is for the car. Because the car here, automobile here, will gulp 7.3 billion. Other innovations will gulp 13.5 billion. Now, that is in addition to the legislature that already have about 57 billion. So 57 plus 7.3 is giving us something in the bracket of about 64.3 billion. What is interesting is that the government is planning to pay minimum wage to federal workers of 35,000 naira. That 35,000 naira, with the current rate of dollar today, is somewhere in the bracket of about $31. So a Nigerian federal worker is worth an average of about $1 a day, Nigerians. $1 a day. That's my own breakdown. Whereas those in power that is paying others $1 a day, how much are they driving in car? Forget about innovation and co. Let's just talk about the driving. I'm trying to do it as 64 billion divided by, that is something about 64 million naira. I'm sorry, $64 million. They will be cruising on $64 million and paying Nigerians $1 a day. If you divide this $64 million by 365, which is, so an average of 175,342 $1,000 is what they drive in a day. Hello, are you getting what I'm saying? Because I've converted it to dollars. If you break that car value into daily for 365 days of a year, it means that for a day, the value of what they are driving a day is $175,342 a day. That's what our leaders put on the road. Whenever they pass you in Maitama, that day they passed you, they have just consumed $175,000 and paid Nigeria $1 a day. How do we reconcile this? And where do we go from here? Especially when we have a system. That's why you remember that man that is in charge of services at the Senate, when they asked him, he said, the executive are driving these big cars. Why shouldn't we drive? And then the judiciary will say, oh, we are starved of funds, but now we know that they have access to 165 billion naira every year That is what these guys, the NJC guys, are blowing. And it is also said that some judicial workers are not well remunerated. Some lower level judges are using their phone to write judgment. And according to Lisa Bakoba, if you go to NJC, it's like you live in a 5-star hotel. But when you come to courts where judgments are delivered, you'll be wondering there is no relationship. And that's why I still think it would be nice for us to end. I know we are doing it sharp. That Chidi Odinkalu's video that you brought up now, let's just allow Nigerians to listen to that first 2 minutes. That's more than enough, the first 2 minutes.
Doc, please, I want to ask you for permission because we just spoke about the economy. There's this video.
Go
we
ahead.
know that in Anambra State, the government there is marking its 2 years in office, and people have been lamenting. I have a lot of videos here I would have loved us to look at, but we don't really have time. Possibly I will just share 2 of them. So let's just take a look at the roads in
the Ogunwasike
Anambra
Road
State.
in Ogidi and Ogbunike. The road leads from Ogidi to Ogbunike to the popular building materials market that is situated at the main road of Onitsha Enugu Express Road. If you're familiar with this road, you will know where this is. This is the current state of the road. A few months ago, the Commissioner of Information Anambra State announced that the Anambra State Executive have awarded this road and mobilized the contractors to go on site. This road was better before the contract was awarded, but you can all see the current state of the road, motorists, how they struggle, businesses and everything that is around there, how they are struggling. It's unfortunate that our professor of a governor, who the people now call Ogiono, is known for someone who makes bogus promises without fulfilling any. This road is very strategic. It connects Ogidi, that is a very popular town in Idemili North, connects Ogbunike and various other places around these 2 local governments, Oyi and Idemili North. This road leads you to Onitsha, Asaba. It leads you to building material, cosmetic material, toll gate, Ogbunike, and a whole lot of places that are strategic to this state. Yet, this is the current state of the road. Few weeks to Christmas, nothing has been done. You can see it for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Doc, I also have another video. I have several of them, but I just pick us 2. So most of these roads are from Anambra. They are all in Anambra State. There is also another one that is from Enugu specifically, and you can see what people are going through.
Hey.
You can see what people are going through on a daily basis. This is why some of our young boys, they have excuses, why they are going into all this Yahoo and all this ritual and all that. The environment is not encouraging at all for people to even go into businesses. Those that went to school can't even find job. Nigerians are really suffering, honestly. And you see, the man that came to channels told Shehu that go to states before inauguration. The governor has bought these very cars that you people want to deprive us of. They've bought it for the commissioners. They've bought it for all to be there waiting for them. They've not even assumed office. For those cars that they told us cost 160 million will be there waiting for them already. So you can see this is just Anambra State. Who knows what is happening in Imo State? I told you guys yesterday that somebody told me that just to come out from Futo, where he schools, to come out from Futo to the city is something else because of the nature of the road. So we are just living in a country where we have leaders that are so insensitive. We know that the president's wife told us that they have enough money. They are not coming into office for money. But you can see how much is being allocated to go and fix their home. Then, and other places. Firstly, this office that Buhari's wife was deprived of. That's why she left for Dubai and didn't, whether she never wanted to come back again, I don't know. But at a time, they were saying that the constitution didn't make any provision for that. But this current government now is allocating money for
Billion.
executive cars for that office without even listening to the plight of Nigerians. Let's use this opportunity to call our attention to this group of core members who were going to attend Sokoto State. They were kidnapped. They are from Akwa Ibom State. They were kidnapped. Up till today, they are still there in the hands of their people that captivated them. They are still there. And this government is not even taking any action. In Zamfara State University, we heard that ladies were abducted from the hostels. Most of them are not yet back. And so many things that are happening in this country. Okay, in Abia State, we heard that 50 lifeless bodies were discovered without head, as in their heads were off. Nigerians, terrible things are happening in this country. So I just want you to put yourself in the shoes of families that are going through all these things, so that you will see reasons when we are calling on this government to sit up. Some people think it's all about tribalism. I see people come to my comment section, they will say, oh, all the people here, they are from a certain tribe and all that. For God's sake, let's build a better Nigeria. So you can imagine this kind of roads. I told you guys I have more videos from coming from different parts of Anambra State, because people were saying that, okay, this man now is 2 years in office, being a professor, who even criticized Peter Obi. Peter Obi that won awards for building good roads in Nigeria. You know, he won that award. Even we've all seen Peter Obi's record, but he tried to challenge Peter Obi that Peter Obi wasn't a good match to become president of Nigeria. But you can see he has been there now for 2 years. You can see that leadership is not even by being a professor, because Peter Obi said anyway, he did his own as a trader. And he that has the title of a professor can even do it better. So we are just hoping that with these videos that are circulating and trending on the social media, in marking his 2 year, his second year in office, he will get to see this video, because people have been tagging him, calling him out. I mean, the governor of Anambra State. These things are equally seen in other states of the federation, and our federal government is busy sharing money, to get cars and fix their homes and their apartments and all that. Don't forget that we are going to be the ones to pay for this. Taxpayers' money and the loans they are going to borrow. These are all where they will be getting all this money from. So, Doc, I don't know what your closing thought is, or we should still go to that video. I felt it would be nice to share these clips.
No, we don't have time to continue. We'll continue tomorrow. We have a whole lot for tomorrow, but it's really, really unfortunate. It's unfortunate the kind of heartless people we found as our leaders.
Thank you very much.
In Benue State and the 9th Mile Road linking Benue State and 9th Mile. That one, I saw trailers, and they said that we have some people bringing home corpses, and those people got trapped for more than a week. Dead body. Let's just close. Nigerians, wherever you are, please don't give up on Nigeria. Let us keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. We'll get there. Thank you.
So guys, thank you very much for being with us today. Please like this video so that YouTube can recommend it to more people. And also subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell for future updates. With this one, we want to say a very big thank you for joining us today. See you again tomorrow, and good night.